Raila Odinga, in the culture of the Luos, is a man who had left his home, their home, Kobabayake, and he went and established his own home at Opoda. Culturally, Raila Odinga should be buried on the right-hand side or at the back of his house in Opoda. But interestingly, a decision was reached that Raila is going to, because I think that was also in the will, he wanted to be buried next to his mother. Now that is deeply psychological, that many people never understand. That in 1986, when Raila's mother was dying,
he wasn't there.
Raila was in prison, and he didn't have a chance to bury his mom. That closure gap has lived with Raila up to now his death. And you are seeing him continuing to state that he would love to be buried next to the mom. Because that closure is very important. Now that closure is what Mundalo is saying. In the process of people viewing the body or having a chance to say bye to the body, people need to have closure. Yeah. Closure is very important. That's why you see, for example, I'm sorry to give this example. If you look at the Gaza case, where right now Israel is very mad. The whole of Israel is mad at Hamas because they've refused to hand over some of the dead bodies. Okay? It is not about the dead bodies. It's about the psychological impact that it has on closure. And if you look at the decision that was reached again by the family just yesterday, instead of him being buried next to the mother in the family graveyard at Kangoka Jaramogi, Raila is going to be buried right next to the father, which is in front, in fact, in the middle of the compound or where he was born. That speaks a lot. It is not now just about him wanting to be next to the mother. It is now more about of his stature as a former prime minister and his liberation struggle. He mirrors the dad very closely. And if you go to Kangoka Jaramogi, you'll realize it's a whole mausoleum. I don't know if you've been there. Yeah. And Raila, of course, is going to be built for a mausoleum. The only question I have is, will the mausoleum or the museum for Raila be in Opoda, or will it also be put at the Jedwang Som in Kangoka Jaramogi? This is a departure from culture, which in the near future, it will be interesting for us to see that actually, like, I could say that I want to be buried next to my dad, and I'm taking back to my father's compound.
I'm just thinking that by the time they were deciding to build this mausoleum or the museum for Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, all the sons had left the compound. I think, but now we still have the gentleman over there in Opoda, so you can't transform it right now.
Interestingly, if you go to Opoda, Raila's house still stands there. Raila's Simba, Oburu's Simba still stands there.
Is that Opoda or
that is Kangoka Jaramogi?
Yes,
all the houses still stand. So Kangoka Jaramogi as a whole, there's one of Jaramogi's wives who is, one or two of them are still alive, who lives actually in the compound. Remember, during the handshake period of 2018 to 2022, President Kenyatta designated Kangoka Jaramogi as a museum under National Museums of Kenya, and even deployed a curator at Kangoka Jaramogi. So it is not just a home, it's a national treasure that I think then also informs the decision as to why Raila needs to be buried there. But that departure from culture is interesting.
But then the question I was asking actually was what exactly are the specifics in a private burial? What are the specifics?
You see, there's something you talked about, the closure. And I think that is the most important thing about the aspect of the private burial. You know, Jagger, as we speak, there are so many of Raila's relatives that have not even had the opportunity to actually even view his body.
Exactly.
As we speak.
Yeah.
And if we go the straight way to the end, they will actually not have the opportunity at all. And I tend to think part of, away from procedural things, it is just about now, at the end of the day, can we also be able to pause and own Raila for a moment?
Yeah.
Because Raila also comes from a family. Raila also has relatives. We have but you see these people when things are running state craft, it becomes very complicated. Even just like where I come from in Western Kenya, sometimes someone would want to stand up and give a 45-minute speech, and that is their way of mourning. Yeah,
and you don't disturb them,
and will not disturb them, and will say let wacha aongee mtoke. Now, this family might not get that opportunity because everything is being done, one, in camera, where you have to have a lot of composure for the cameras, where your mourning has to be measured. Because again, you are heavily in the public. I've kept pitying the family every time they go towards Raila's body, and you see they have to be alive to the reality
that the cameras are
that this
around.
is camera and this is live. Like there's no moment. It's not cut and edit later. It is there and then. So you have to have a demeanor of a certain nature. Yeah. When you are a son like a junior, there is a way. There is what the public expects
Of you.
But see, at the end of the day, you are just a man, like you're just a son who has actually lost a father. And you can be able to behave in whichever manner. It does not really need to be in an organized manner that people are going to judge and everything. Remember when the senator, is it the senator for Nyandarua? This DCP guy, what is his name? Methu. Remember Methu, when Methu lost the father? And we're able to see the videos of Methu breaking down heavily everywhere. Now, that becomes very different when you are Raila's son. Because when you are Raila's son, people even expect that you are actually you must mirror what the expectation is of Raila. And we also imagine that people who are close to Raila are only the ones we know, Jagero. There are so many people who are very close to Raila, who are just his family, who are his aunties, who are his mothers. You know, as in Africa, we don't have aunties. Who are his small and big mothers, or small and big fathers. We have people who share an upbringing with this man. They just want to have that moment with them. So for me, I don't think it's about the formalities and the procedure that happens, but it's about a moment to honor the man.
But we are going to still see the body being lowered on camera. Are we going to see all that? It's going to be darkness.
Private burial, we may not see, depending on what happens. We may not see, because remember, for President Moi, we saw. For General Ogola, we didn't see the body going down.
We did not.
But the cameras are focused on President Ruto, and the people were on this other side, not at the private session. So
Kibaki we didn't.
Even Kibaki we didn't.
After they have already buried, now we were shown this is now the grave, and he said it will not be cemented, and that's what we saw.
Oh, really? Interesting. So there is a very big possibility that we're not going to see that.
So what actually goes on? Let me tell you, as somebody who covered Raila's last meeting with the Josakwa, his clansmen. You saw Buru go home to talk with clansmen. Raila is very close, extremely close to his clansmen, where he has the first and the last meetings with them. In the 2022 presidential campaigns, Raila sat with them when the following day we were going to vote. And I remember being there with a friend of mine called Terry Chocolate when we were covering this session. And it was I think it was called Jokawur. It's a very tight-knit family, Jagiro, that sits and discusses as a family. And so that is likely to happen. And what probably will go on in that meeting is each and every one of them giving tributes.
Okay.
It will be short tributes, or spokesmen of different sects within the clan, off camera, speak directly, or because they will also want to do some things there. There are cultural things that may need to be done there. For example, if there is some prayer or some chant that needs to be done that is not state-wise, okay, we have our African God. Of course, it's one God all over, but we have our African God we pray to. We talk to our ancestors. Those are things that we are not likely going to see. Okay, but also it could just be the Anglican burial, because Raila is an Anglican. Your church, of course, it could just be the Anglican burial, but for the private session, people break down Jagger. Let me tell you, when the burial is happening, and perhaps this is why it's a moment of vulnerability. If a burial has ever happened in your home, and especially a close relative, you'll realize this. When the coffin is now being lowered into the grave,
it's a stab of reality.
It's a stab of reality. It stabs so painfully, Jagero, that you will not want to see. Or maybe Mama Ida and the family may not want that to be shown to the public. It is so painful. The realization that this guy is gone now hits you.
And it hits very hard.
And it hits very hard, and people break down. People can be wailing.
Yeah.
Somewhere at the stature of Winnie or Junior, may God give them the strength, they could move into wailing. And that is something that, as you said, the Odinga family is a royal family. That is a fact, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
This is a royal family because they've been in power and they've influenced the course of the nation for over 60 years.
Yeah.
The same to the Kenyatta family. The same to Moi family.
Yeah.
These are royal families. And that royalty, there's a moment that it needs to be off camera. Even for Queen Elizabeth, we saw that happen. It was a private burial ceremony. Okay?
Talking about, you talked about Junior, the son.
Yeah.
And we saw pictures of the whisk and the heart.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I think and I
because
think
the reason why I'm asking is that we have really talked about the issue of who is handed over the mantle as the
heir apparent. And that's what I'm explaining. That as it stands now, because in the absence of Fidel, then the son in this equation is Junior, and so I can be able to see that he is also, while mourning, trying to really fit public expectation of what the public in terms of the general people and the public in terms of the Luos. Because whereas all of us are watching a funeral, the Luos are watching their leader. And the Luos are keen on the politics of succession, not just politically per se, but even from a family perspective. So Junior stands in this place where everyone is looking at, can this family then be entrusted to this gentleman? Before we even talk about the politics, it's about, can this family, because we and I think it's both Luo and Luo, the leadership of a family is always placed at the feet of the son. It does not matter how old he is at the point that his father exists. But the first son, the moment your dad exists, everybody is looking at you. So Junior finds himself in that space. And so in my view, I think he's really done very well in terms of really balancing that expectation. Whereas he's really mourning, and you can be able to feel the grief even in his face, you can still be able to see that he's really taking the leadership. He's leading the others. I was yesterday, I think was it, at Kasarani, when he was ushering his sisters to do the viewing and leave, and he was ushering them. And I think that was very good gesture, not just for himself, but even for public expectation, because the reality of leadership is that there is no point where leadership goes on a break. Leadership does not take leave. At any point, we are judging each of the things that you are doing, Jagero. The moment you are at the stage of Raila Odinga, even when you put on a watch, you want to know why that one. When you put on specs, you want to know why that. When you take a posture, when you come to a podcast and go to Jagero, we ask, why did you go to Jagero's? Everything must really, really have a meaning. And so I think Junior has really, in my view, done very well in terms of balancing that. He's retained the grieving, but also has been able to play to public expectation of both the country and the Luo community, and I think he has done so well.
Let me tell you, I'm so happy that it has come full circle in the bit of analysis, and sort of we were having a premonition in our discussion, and I'm not happy that Raila has died, no. That now we can sit and now see what I was talking about a few weeks ago come full play. I did share with Jagero here that the heir apparent of the Odinga regime or the Odinga family is Junior Odinga. And of course, we had our discussions, and one of the things I said is that Junior will be made the heir because Oburu today is 82. Oburu Oginga is 82. 82 is already very tired. That is a reality we can see, and this is just natural. He cannot withstand the vigor, and he does not carry with him the hope of the generation that is coming, that the father was, that Raila was leading. So in 1994, when Jaramogi died, many people did not expect Raila to be anything per se, okay? But remember, Raila had only been in parliament for how many years?
For 2 years.
2 years, since I was representing Langata in 1992. And by the time Jaramogi was dying, Raila moved full swing, by taking over Ford Kenya, etc. And it was it is going to play the same way. And I tell you how it's going to play in this fashion. And you have to listen to me very carefully. One, the business empire of Raila Odinga is going to be managed very well and prudently by Ida Odinga. Very prudently, that will be sure, because she's been running it from 2003, something that many people don't know. She's been running the Spectra companies from 2003. And it has been, the business of the Odinga family basically is in the hands of the managing director, who is Dr. Ida Odinga. That's not likely to change in time soon. Ida is still very young. In fact, she's looking even younger. If you compare with her age mates who are 74, she's looking much younger. She's looking like she's either 44 or 54, so thereabout. Now, the political question is what remains. If you see what happened at Kasarani yesterday, and even at Parliament, you saw Babu Owino come out so strongly. And when he was moving, he was sort of, I don't know what that was about. I found it to be a little bit careless. Where he was throwing his arms in the air, trying to control the crowd, etc. That was a little bit careless.
Was it careless of Babu?
Of Babu, of course. Because Babu is now the only other person who is going with the youth. That is a fact. It's given that the youth are with Babu to a particular extent. But remember, politics operates within structures. And now that structure is within ODM. And that said, you're going to see Jagero in a short while. The junior who has been lackluster, the junior who has been underrated, the junior who has been behind the show, the junior who does not make public statements on politics. You saw this morning when he went to Parliament to view his father's body. Something strange happened there. Junior was no longer the junior who is just in basic suits. Junior today was having the cape that Jaramogi wore, the cape that Raila wore. It has been handed over to him. You've never seen Junior in any public appearance come with a whisk. Do you know what a whisk means in Luo? A whisk is the whisk, and that whisk is not of a female cow. It's a whisk of a bull, okay? Which means leadership. So when he whisks it, he's whisking his people basically. You are about to see Junior.
The people feel it.
Of course. If you don't feel it, don't worry. You're about to feel it.
The reality is that without appearing to cut Odhiambo, the truth is the Junior that we have actually seen all the time has been very different from the demeanor that the Junior has taken. And today morning, it rose even higher. And there is a way he was able to whisk purely the Raila way. It was purely the Raila way. At some point, I asked myself, from yesterday when he raised his hand, and I asked myself, whereas people can be politically very smart, how come no other person was able to take that nod from Raila and do it the same way? It had to be Junior. And now today morning, you are able to see, like you can start feeling, leadership in itself is a spirit, and you can be able to feel it. That's why people will tell you that when they walked around Raila, there was always a spirit that engulfs you within that environment. When I walked around President Uhuru Kenyatta, anytime he walked into the room, there was always a spirit that engulfed the room. That is how deep leadership is. And there is also something about succession of leadership. It has a culture of going normally to the most unlikely.
Exactly. I told you.
Succession of leadership rarely goes to the most likely. And that's why when Jaramogi died, the most likely
was
at the time was Kijana wa Malwa from the Luya. And from the Luo, it was more Orengo.
And in fact, Jaramogi loved Orengo.
He was the most experienced at the time. He had come into parliament earlier.
1972-73.
So he is the one who, and he was actually popular. Truth is, at that time, even the opinion polling at the time, James Orengo was extremely popular. And at that time, Raila Odinga was seen more as an upstart, still a young person. A greenhorn. More of the Jacaranda kind of guys. That was more or less it. But then it went that direction. So sometimes, and most of the time actually, you look at it, and even you look at our former heads of state, and where their ascension and the people who have taken after them, it has most of the time been the most unlikely. When you look at the president, our founding president, Kenyatta, many people don't know that he actually has many children. Many people even think that he had one son called Uhuru Kenyatta, who was actually the last of the last wife. So you look at it, you look at President Gideon Moi, President Daniel Moi at the time. And when he left, he actually had children who had come into parliament earlier.
Yeah, Raymond.
The Raymonds, who were member of parliament for Rongai, and he'd been member of parliament for the longest time. But in terms of the leadership, how it finds its way to Gideon is something sometimes you cannot really comprehend. And so I agree when you look at it and you feel like this gentleman in Raila Jr., that you might think is a bit lackluster. He's not been in the political space.
Are you saying that Babu Owino is a rank of 1970?
No, let me chime in.
I'm happy you're the one who said it.
Let me chime in and say this. Let me chime in and say this. I have been, and I am a supporter of Babu Owino from the times we grew up in Nyalenda. He's somebody I know. He's somebody I can point to the mother. We used to buy stuff from the mother. He's somebody well known. He's a commoner to people. And Babu Owino, this moment has two options. Then you're ready to listen.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening.
He has two options.
Okay.
In the next few days, after the burial of Raila, the state will approach Babu Owino. They will take my word to the bank. And they'll approach Babu Owino for two reasons. Either Babu Owino will be given Nairobi governorship in 2027. They'll assure him of the support that they'll give him in 2027. Okay? And he has to support the state. Or they will disappear Sakaja some way. So we just fizzle out. Just fizzle out. Politically. Thank you. Politically, he'll just fizzle out. And two, he'll be offered a CS position in this reshuffle that is coming. There's a reshuffle that is coming. Take it to the bank, it is coming. It's not far away. Babu Owino will be offered a place on the table to sit in the cabinet. Why? Ruto's biggest headache between now and 2027 is to make sure that there's no chaos in the street. Because any little chaos in the street, any little chaos, any. Do you? Oh my God! That is the chaos. Any little chaos in the street again is taking Ruto straight home. And the only other person who is controlling the streets for now is Babu Owino. And Babu Owino must be put on the table. And if Babu Owino refuses to take the seat on the table within the next 2 to 3 months,
this is a lot.
That's the chaos. It's a lot. This is the Raila effect. And this is how Junior is coming to power.
We can just finish without this.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We are good. Yeah. So, Babu Owino will be for this CS position. And most probably, the CS position will be for education. Migos Ogamba is going home. He can take that to the bank from me. He's going home. That position will be given to Babu Owino.
We started this thing very well.
No. You know, there's nothing I want to do in this podcast that has not happened.
Do you agree we started this thing very well?
Just a minute before you come in. Let me tell you, Jagero. Let me tell you. If Babu Owino refuses to take the CS position, he'll wait for 2027 and then he'll fizzle out at the governorship. You will never get out of Nairobi governorship safe. When you leave the Nairobi governorship, you leave tainted. But 2027, Babu has the chance of being the deputy president. If he accepts the CS position now. Okay? If that refuses, remember, Ruto must also balance Raila's interests posthumously. And Raila's interests are only harbored by who? By Junior. So Junior must be fully embedded in the ODM structure, and Junior is going to fight it out. So shortly, you will see ODM move into the national delegates, whatever, right?
I don't like the way this is going. I hate it.
Because Jagero hates it now more as a candidate.
Because you're a candidate. As we love it because we understand it. So there's a possible struggle. There's a possible struggle. I see it because Winnie is not a weak character. Remember, Winnie has just said in a speech when just a short while ago that Honorable Raila died in her arms. You know what that means in Luo? That means all the blessings are left to you. That is the implication.
Yeah.
Now, Winnie is already has been more political than Junior.
Yeah.
And Winnie is fairly strong compared to Junior politically. But in the patriarchal setting of our society, that's the struggle. So there's a possibility that there's going to be a little struggle, and that's why the family will rein in and remove Oburu to be the head of ODM, and it will be a struggle between Babu and Junior for the leadership of ODM if Babu wants to go that direction. But if he's wise, let him leave Junior to take the position in ODM and let him go and settle for the CS position immediately. He has 20 years ahead of him. There's nothing that he's going to do between now and 2020.
Junior has more.
Junior is older than Babu. Junior is about 44, if I'm not wrong today. Babu is about 36 or 35. So Babu is fairly young. Okay,
you wanted to say something.
Hail Holy King. Here comes Junior Odinga.
I think Odhiambo just says the reality in probably more brutal words than I would have. But maybe I would share the same sentiment. You know, whereas I told you that there's a way that power loves going towards the most unlikely.
Yeah.
You will give it even the example of Mutula Kilonzo. And whereas the whole country looked at Kethi as the automatic heir apparent, it just shifted and went to Junior. And so the reality is that we cannot be able to sit down and look down on Junior. I look at Oburu Odinga more as I even don't feel like he will be pushed away, as Odhiambo puts it. I feel like he is the caretaker.
Yeah.
He is the placeholder to allow Junior Mon finish, assemble the strength to then take this forward. So the reality is as it is. And you know, there is a lot of similarity between Babu Owino and Raila Odinga, a lot of similarity. And one thing that has brought Raila this far, one thing that made Raila who he was, and he survived a lot of the political machination, and he kept reinventing himself, is because Raila knew very well how to balance the politics of energy and the politics of strategy. Raila knew at what point he needed the energy and at what point he needed the strategy. Now, Babu has come thus far on the basis of energy.
Yep.
Now, finally, now there is this moment when now Babu needs to now start moving strategically. And that is now what Odhiambo is now speaking to. That now the movement going forward is not going to be based entirely on the energy. Yeah, because give it to him, if it goes about the energy and who can marshal numbers and who can be able to cause disruption here and there, he actually, I don't think anyone in ODM can do it better than Babu. But then he needs to now start thinking strategically. That going forward, there's a reason why Raila always pushed us to the streets and at some point retreated and joined governments so that he can be able to breathe and then move us to the next phase. And that way, he has survived over 20 years. Every time we go to an election and everyone says, now this is the last one that Raila can be able to be relevant. And then we get to the next one and he is more relevant than the previous.
Yeah.
So now, it is now the time for really Babu to now rethink, see how to best navigate this. And this is the time when he needs a lot of brain around him to be able to help him now think strategically going forward. I was happy when he talked in the was it the ODM meeting or the MPs meeting, and he really tried to dissociate with himself from what happened at Mama's place, at Mama Ida Odinga's place, because this is not the right time for chants of Babu. It is absolutely not the right time for people to really chant your name. You must really try and be able to control your supporters, because they might just sell the wrong impression, and just like that, something that was so near gets so far. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Just a minute.
In closing.
Yeah.
In closing.
So that you advise him to take the CS position.
He must go for the CS position or perish. That's the reality. He must go for it. If he doesn't go for it, well, he'll be handed Nairobi in 2027, that will be it. That's fine. Our producer here, Noah Osigo, has just sent me something, and I want to read it verbatim. This is Raila Odinga Jr.'s statement when he's giving his speech seconds ago at Nyayo Stadium. And he has said, I am my dad's son, and that is why I will continue to fight for the values he believed in: justice, fairness, and service to others.
Service to others.
Tafakari.
Okay.
Yeah, Babu.
Thank you very much. people of the internet, I hope that you're going to have a lot to say about what Odhiambo has proclaimed.
The new king. By the way, you know, I don't like interfering with what you're saying. But by the way, let me tell you, there's going to be a division in ODM. There's going to be two factions in ODM. One who are going to be loyal to the ODM formality or the ODM formation, which comes from the Odinga family.
Yes.
And there is another faction, Ford Kenya, Ford Asili, ODM Kenya, ODM.
Yes.
We're going to have such a thing. We're going to have, these people are going to create a teen god from ODM. You know teen god? Remember the Israelites when they were in the desert?
Yeah.
And Moses went up to talk to God, and Moses was taking too long. They removed the necklaces, and then they smelt them and created a calf that they were worshipping because they wanted the God that they were seeing. They're not going to wait for Junior. Then they're going to create a calf. And that calf will come in any name. We're about to see it. Okay? But the true Israelites.
Are you calling Wangak?
No. I've said there could be a calf. That calf, we don't know who it will be.
This is coming from the...
But there's going to be the true Israelites. The true Israelites will stick by the ideals of ODM. Thank you.
Coming from Mabel.
It could come himself.
That was political headache. We wish Baba a great time as he go yonder. What do you say?
It's been an honor living within the same time space as Raila Odinga. Perhaps the biggest honor of my life, not perhaps, the biggest honor of my life has been sitting around Raila, serving around Raila, and serving the family of the Odingas. That has been my greatest honor career-wise, and also in terms of just having the best bosses in the world that I've worked with. And as he goes to the world yonder, I look forward to meeting him there.
Your last words, sir?
Thank you. I really, just like Odhiambo, would really appreciate the time and the opportunity that Baba gave me to just be able to serve in his presidential campaign and to learn from him. And being alive in his time has also been one of my greatest honors. There are things that we have learned, and I have personally learned from Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has taught me that you can actually be resilient, and you can actually be able to move it every other time. That when it fails, you don't need to give up. You can always try again and again and again. And I think that is one of the biggest lessons that my generation gets from Raila Odinga. That we cannot be able to give up on our pursuit. We cannot give up on our dreams. We cannot give up on our own country. That even if it comes in whichever form and color, we must be able to still be resilient and push on until it happens. Yeah.
Thank you very much.